Hello and welcome to my show, Shuvra Deb with you, with me, your host, Shuvra Deb. In this show, I will be discussing mental health with the aim of raising mental health awareness in our community and in society as a whole. The genesis of the show is my own pivotal life-changing experience of being in a Category 5 hurricane back in 2017. That experience led me to suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. I am hosting this show in order to let you know that you are not alone if something life-changing has happened to you from which you are struggling to heal. Shuvra Deb with you focuses on a range of topics relevant to mental health and to raising awareness of issues surrounding mental health. Hello everyone and welcome back to my show, Shuvra Deb with you. I love that you guys are continuing to tune in as I start to find my groove with hosting a show and being a podcaster. As my regular listeners will know, the aim of my show is to raise awareness around the issue of mental health and is my way of inviting you all to take care of yourselves and of each other by looking out for your own mental health and for the mental health of those around you, those you love and care about. Whilst this show is about mental health awareness, I want to state at the very outset that I'm not a mental health professional and I'm not medically qualified. Therefore, nothing I say should be taken as professional advice in this regard. If you need someone to talk to, then please reach out to a friend or to a professional mental health service provider. Infinite Mind Care here in the Cayman Islands provides counselling services and can be reached on 926 0882. The Alex Panton Foundation offers support to people up to the age of 30, and their information is on their website, alexpantonfoundation.ky. Loud Silent Voices provides mental health support, and their number is 922-3847, and their email is info@lsv.support. So, on today's show, as we approach Christmas, and who listening loves Christmas? As we approach Christmas, I want to talk to you about setting our intentions for the new year. Why wait until the very end of the year or even the start of the new year before we start to set out our plans and intentions for ourselves for the incoming 12 months that will be 2023? And whilst there are many of us who love Christmas, and I am one of them, there are so many of us listening for whom Christmas is a difficult time of year. It can be difficult for so many mixed and various reasons, sometimes more than one reason for each of us. Amongst these reasons are the enforced cheer that we see around us, sparkling, twinkling lights, upbeat Christmas music, the pressure to exchange gifts, to eat, to drink and be merry are just some of the few reasons why this can be a difficult season. Another aspect of this time of year is that it provides a stark reminder for us all of deceased friends and relatives, people we miss at certain times of year, particularly times of year that place their emphasis on spending time with family and friends. On top of that, Christmas is also a time of year when we reflect on the year that has passed. We might be thinking about what we have achieved. We might also be thinking about what we feel we have not achieved. We may be reflecting on relationships we have had with people in our lives, and where we consider there may be a lack of some description in those relationships. And I talk about relationships in all contexts, romantic ones, friendships, relationships with family members and co-workers, all of which make up the rich tapestry of our life experience. And whilst all of this can lead us to feel melancholic, I firmly believe that that's not necessarily a bad thing. By sitting with and feeling into those senses of sadness, disappointment, whatever those feelings might be for you, we are processing what is going on in our heads and in our hearts. It is by confronting, acknowledging and processing these deeper, heavier thoughts and feelings and emotions that we free up space in our hearts and in our minds to stay present and thereby to move forward. By acknowledging feelings of sadness, for example, we give ourselves the grace to honour how and what we are feeling, and I think we should do that without judgment. If at this time of year we are feeling sad about something that happened or didn't happen for us during 2022, then by feeling into that sadness, crying, journaling, comfort eating for a short time, we are not turning our back on our feelings. Instead, we are saying to the sadness, hey, welcome. Welcome, sadness, into my life. Because by welcoming that sadness, we are not suppressing it. Instead, we are giving ourselves the grace of acknowledgement of ourselves. We are giving ourselves an internal hug, reminding ourselves that it's okay to feel sad. It's okay not to have Christmas cheer. It's okay not always to be the life and soul of the party, for example. And ultimately, when we confront that sadness, or whatever the heavier emotion may be for us, we are processing. We are staying present. And by doing those things, we are moving forward. And by moving forward, we are creating space in our hearts and in our minds, space in our energetic field to welcome in something new. And that something new for us may be something joyous, a new job perhaps, a new home, a new relationship, a new friendship, a new dress even, which we thought for some reason would never be ours. Because without that mental, emotional, and spiritual space for the new, we become stagnant, we become stuck. And being stuck and stagnant will keep us exactly where we were, stuck in the past. And if things have become just that little bit too overwhelming for you, and if someone is feeling suicidal, they need to get to Georgetown Hospital here in the Cayman Islands or the local emergency department of wherever it is that you are listening from. So, with it in mind that this is a good time of year to cleanse out the old and to allow the new to enter, let's start thinking about setting our intentions and our plans for the 12 months ahead. Today is the 22nd of December, which is the day after the winter solstice. Having had the shortest day and longest night of the year yesterday, today is the first day of a new energy, an energy of renewal and rebirth as we enter a new solar cycle. And as we enter that energy of the new, that energy of the increasing light, what a great time to release the old and usher in the new. So, the angle from which I'm approaching intention setting is not so much the traditional New Year's resolution angle. My take on this is something slightly more nuanced than that. Let me explain. I feel that New Year's resolutions can have the connotation of being something new in the sense of being possibly profoundly new, and something that we may not have yet achieved in our lives. Some classic ones are, I am going to lose weight, or I am going to save money, or I am going to make more money. The intentions behind these are great, truly great. But if you're someone who hasn't been inside a gym for 6 months, losing weight is going to be a huge and daunting task. If you're someone who has never really thought about or planned on how you can save money, that task is likely going to flummox you. And if you're someone who hasn't yet looked at ways to make more money, then just launching into this without a plan is likely to be scary. One of the ways in which we can overcome the overwhelm of New Year's intentions is to think about what we can achieve and then start out on detailed practices that will take us closer to achieving the bigger goals. These are, if you like, incremental steps. By taking a step at a time towards a bigger goal, before we realize it, we are at that bigger goal. And if we don't quite hit the bigger goal in the time frame that we have set for ourselves, we have taken so many mini steps, so many incremental steps towards our goal that we will be so far along the way to getting to our target. And hey, we may even surpass our target or find that by having set the right intention, unexpected and happy events coincide to push us along even further than we had hoped or expected. Let's use losing weight as the example, and I can speak to this one. I wanted to tone up and get fit back in the spring of this year ahead of my summer trip to Las Vegas for my 40th birthday. This is something that I had been trying without any real plan of how to achieve this from around the start of this year. I then discovered and decided to go on the F45 challenge, which I've spoken about on a previous show where I interviewed my friends Ian and Stella from F45 in the Cayman Islands. Committing to the F45 challenge was a great way of showing me that if I want to achieve something big, something that was important to me, then the best way I can do that is to take it step by step, in bite-sized, small, achievable chunks. I already went to the gym 4 to 5 times a week, so a small increase in this was to go 5 to 6 times a week, an incremental change that made a difference. As regards the nutrition side of it, I was already trying to eat healthily, so it wasn't a huge leap to then follow a calorie-controlled eating plan consisting of balanced and nutritious whole foods. I think the key in all of this is to meet yourself where you are at. If you've been a couch potato for the last 6 months, for example, or if you have been injured or ill and unable to exercise, then suddenly running into the gym 3 times a day, 7 days a week is only going to leave you totally burnt out, if not badly injured. And then that will cause you to become disheartened. By showing ourselves grace for who we are and for where we are at, and setting our goals in accordance with each of these aspects of ourselves, we are much more likely to achieve a sense of accomplishment. If weight loss is one of your aims, then start setting targets that will work in real time and in practice. That will be far more impactful than something generic like saying, I'm going to lose weight, and doing that in a vacuum. Finding steps and tools that allow us to move towards the goal is how we achieve that goal. Setting a goal without those steps being put in place will leave us floundering and lost, not knowing how to achieve our aims. And ultimately, it will lead to the failure of the intention that we have set ourselves. For example, eating and exercise are not the only steps towards attaining a healthy body and weight. Other factors include getting enough sleep, drinking plenty of water, and managing stress. So, if you feel like you're not getting enough sleep every night, are you able to go to bed a little earlier to increase your sleeping hours? If you feel you need to drink more water, could you buy yourself a large cup to carry around with you filled with water, providing a reminder for you to sip from that cup at regular intervals, and then refill it when it becomes empty? If you feel you're not managing your stress effectively, are you able to pop into the yoga studio and participate in a relaxing practice? These small changes will all contribute towards a feeling of better health and ultimately a healthy body if that's what you want for your New Year's intention. Another thing to say on moving towards our goals is to maintain a constant check-in with ourselves. Continuing with the example of holding the intention of losing weight and toning up, if we choose a method by which to do this and a month or so in we feel like it's not really working for us, a monthly check-in is a great opportunity to look at whether something else or whether something additional or something less may be required and may help us along on our journey. So, set your intentions, work out a plan consisting of bite-sized steps on how the intention will be achieved, and then, say every 4 weeks or so, check in with yourself. Ask yourself questions. How am I doing? How do I feel about what I'm doing? Am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? Am I putting too much pressure on myself? Am I not putting in enough work? And then, once we've sat down with those questions to ourselves, we can look at what we could do differently. The answer to that may, of course, be nothing. Everything you're doing towards achieving your goals is perfect. You're on track, you're feeling great, and you want to see where the next month takes you. If so, all power to you. Keep going. Another way to achieve goals is to build upon existing practices. For example, if your goal is to walk a few more steps a day, a week, or month, then look at what you're already doing. Do you walk to get your lunch from the office? If so, do you follow the same route every day? And if so, you might want to try extending your number of steps by taking a different route to get your lunch. You could take a circuitous route and go the long way round. You could also take a 10-minute walk after your lunch. Not only will that increase your daily number of steps, walking for 10 minutes after a meal has its own health benefits. Walking after a meal has the effect of increasing insulin sensitivity, meaning that the body uses glucose more effectively, which in turn lowers blood sugar levels. A post-meal walk will also have the effect of helping with that mid-afternoon slump where glucose levels can plummet, leaving us feeling sleepy and reaching out for the coffee and the biscuits. By taking that 10-minute walk after lunch, we will be maintaining a steadier level of glucose, allowing our bodies to function better and more effectively after the meal. And we will have increased our number of steps for the day. Look at other existing practices you have and see if there is a goal that can grow from that. The idea is that if you're already doing something, then it's something you probably enjoy doing. So doing more of that will bring you more enjoyment, and who knows what other opportunities that can open us up to. You may, for example, be someone who likes smelling and admiring the many beautiful flowers we have here in the Cayman Islands. If you are, and you also want to increase your daily, weekly, or monthly number of steps, then maybe increase your walks by walking to and looking at smelling more flowers. We are so lucky here that we can actually do this year-round because of our beautiful climate. If you're someone who likes to doodle on notepads in meetings or whilst you're on calls or whilst you're watching a TV show, then how about grabbing a sketch pad and making a full-sized doodle, and then just letting your creative juices flow? You may just come up with unique and iconic doodles that you can start selling. And at the very least, doing something like picking up a sketch pad and a pencil or paint and paintbrushes will get your creative juices flowing. I speak about the importance of getting creative in my third show, which is about finding our life's true purpose. One of the ways in which we can get closer to finding our purpose in life is by getting creative. By being creative, by flowing into activities that give us a sense of joy, happiness, flow, and freedom, we start to feel into what we are good at. And what we are good at is often what predicates our true purpose. By tapping into our creative energies, by allowing ourselves to be in flow with the activities that bring us joy and peace and fun, activities that when we're doing them, we lose track of time, we allow ourselves to be spontaneous. By being spontaneous, we are getting closer to finding our purpose. We are getting closer to living in alignment. And as a result, we are getting closer to being able to live our true purpose. So, if you're a doodler or a hobby painter or sketcher, I invite you to set an intention for yourself this coming new year to pick up a sketch pad, pencils or paints and paintbrushes and just go. See what happens. Buy Smart here on Island sells some really cool arts and crafts gear, as does Office Supply, so go check them out. And if you feel comfortable to share your creative output with me, I would love to see it. And I'll keep it just between us, of course. Please do email me photos of any of your New Year's creations to my email at shuvradeb82@gmail.com. That's spelt SHUVRADEB, the numbers 82@gmail.com. By building on things we are already good at, by continuing to put more building blocks on top of what we're already doing, we are telling our brains, we are reinforcing that what we enjoy and what we want more of in life is of value. We are validating ourselves and validating what brings us joy. By giving ourselves that level of validation, we are stepping closer and closer to our life's purpose. And if the new year of 2023 provides us an opportunity to take stock of what those activities are for us and to delve deeper into participating in those activities, then what a fabulous way to set an intention, and what a fabulous way to start a new year. What a fabulous way to work towards discovering and building our life's purpose. I'm so excited, so happy for you, my listeners, that you might use 2023 to find your joy and your purpose. So how do we get there? By setting small, bite-sized goals on our journey to achieving a bigger goal, we are more likely to succeed at the bigger goal, and we are less likely to feel overwhelmed trying to achieve our aims. So, if your aim is to write a book, be specific about what you want to achieve and how you will achieve it. The aim of writing a book is fabulous, but in order to make that book happen, you need details. It can't be in a vacuum. So, work out the genre of the book you're going to write. Is it going to be fiction or non-fiction? What's the word count going to be? How many chapters will it have? How will it be structured? By topic, by chronology? Then, be realistic. Aiming to write 10,000 words a day, especially if we have another job already, is going to be taking on too much, and then we will get disheartened if we don't manage the full 10,000 words a day. Instead, maybe aim for 1,000 or 1,500 words a day. Or, unless I'm working to a deadline, I find a better target to set for myself is to commit to writing for a certain number of hours a day, and then allowing my work to flow in that time period. I may achieve 100 words, or I may even achieve 5,000 words in one sitting if I'm in my flow. And by following this approach, we don't have to commit the same number of hours every single day during which we're going to write. Unless, of course, that's how you work effectively, and it might be. But unless that is how you work effectively, the repetitive nature of committing to the same number of hours every day to the same thing may lead you to get bored and lose the very inspiration that you need for your book. And if whilst writing your book for, say, 4 hours on any given day, you're not feeling inspired and nothing comes, then walk away. Your laptop will still be there later that day, the next day, and the day after that. By not forcing the thing we are trying to achieve, the inspiration floods. So leave it. Go for a walk, a swim, a game of tennis, go see a friend. And who knows, that little break in the middle may provide you with the bucket load of inspiration that you were previously lacking, and the words could just flow from that one change of scenery. So, set your bite-sized goals, sketched out, maybe over chunks of time. What do you aim to achieve per week, per month, per quarter? This will help you to keep the goals manageable. And then when it comes to it, don't beat yourself up if you're not on target. Things will eventually fall into place. They always do, I promise. Think about it from this perspective. By having set the goals you have set, and by starting the journey, by taking the steps to get to those goals, you are way ahead than you would have been if you hadn't taken those steps at all. One step towards achieving an aim, towards accomplishing something, is worthy of such a huge pat on the back. So even if you don't quite hit your target, celebrate yourself and celebrate the fact that you have stepped on the track towards getting to your target. So, of course, go ahead and set your intentions towards self-improvement for 2023 if that's what you would like to do. But in doing so, we also need to set intentions to have downtime, to make sure we don't become exhausted, to ensure we have sufficient ways of handling stress that we don't block ourselves from living our lives. A really fun way of doing this, especially at this time of year, is to sit down and research where and when you would like to take your vacations in 2023. Start planning out your vacations now. If you're a details person like me, then you may want to set out the minutiae of where you'll go, when, what you'll do when you get there, where you'll stay, and a few of the restaurants you want to eat at and bars you'd like to hang out in. And if you're not so details-oriented and prefer a spontaneous approach, but still want to have vacation time in your calendar, then have an idea of where you'll go and when. For example, is there a retreat you want to go on? If so, start the research now in this little holiday period we have coming up. And if you'd like some guidance on retreats, my last show, called Self-Care, Costa Rica and Retreats, may provide you with some ideas on where to go and what kind of retreats to go on. So please do have a listen when you have a chance when my podcast launches in the new year. If you want to go travelling generally, start researching where you might go and what you might do and the places you'd like to visit when you get there. Have some fun with this. You could start a Pinterest board and start pinning your desires, creating almost a vision board, which is something you can keep going back to when you want inspiration for your trip. Speaking of vision boards, do you want to go big? Maybe you're in the market for setting a 12-month goal. So something like, in 12 months' time, I will have written my book. 12 months doesn't have to be as big as, 12 months. The tricks and tools I have spoken about already can all go towards a 12-month goal or project. Breaking up a project into bite-sized chunks will carry you to the 12-month mark. Having weekly or monthly check-ins with yourself will have you gliding to your 12-month mark. Pivoting, reiterating and resetting your goals, or pivoting and resetting how you will get to your goal, is going to have you flying towards your aims. And as part of that, you could try creating a vision board for your aims. Grab a large piece of paper or card, or find a large corkboard to hang on your wall. Then go find some magazines and newspapers and start cutting out pictures of what you would like in your life, and glue or pin them to your vision board. So, for example, if it's more meditation that you would like to have present in your life, go cut out a picture of a woman or a man meditating and put it right there on your vision board. If it's your dream house that you would like to buy, find similar pictures and go glue or pin it on your vision board. If it's a relationship, go find some pictures of the way you would like your new relationship to feel. And then, you guessed it, go glue or pin that on your vision board too. The opportunities with this one are endless. You can get so creative and it's fun. It's like our childhood days when we used to create colourful collages in art class. So much fun. And if not vision boarding, try to be as specific as you can possibly be about what your goals are. And then write out in as much detail as you can think what it is that you want to get going and done in the next 12 months. Then keep those thoughts, those aims, that sense of what you want close to you, close to your heart. As in, don't just write them down and maybe read them once or twice in January and then forget all about it. Easily done. So easily done. But instead, write down in as much detail as you can all those amazing things you want for yourself that you're going to make happen. Then every night before you go to bed, or first thing every morning when you wake up, or both, look at that note you've written to yourself. And then, this is key. See, sense, and feel. And I mean really, see, sense, and feel yourself being and doing what it is you've put on that list, on that vision board. Really, really feel into that role that you're creating for your future self. And the whole seeing, sensing, and feeling is so important because by being present in your future life, that's how you make things happen. When we see ourselves doing or being something, we start the process. We start truly to believe that what we see for ourselves can in fact be achieved, can in fact be made real, can in fact become reality, because on some plane somewhere, on some level, it already is. It already is a reality that you have created. You see, the only constraints we have are created by us, created in our minds, created by our minds. So if we tell our minds, we show our minds, hey, we can achieve whatever it is that we want to achieve, then well, quite frankly, we can. And I truly believe that. And it's not a case of, you can be whatever you want to be, dear. It's not a case of, oh, you're a fish, but of course you can go climb that tree. No, it's more purpose-driven and structured than that. Achieving and being whatever and whoever we want comes from our heart. And once we have our heart set on something, our mind helps us work out how we're going to get there. Our hearts get to that state of knowing when we allow ourselves to have those simple practices of meditation, of starting a project, of putting together a business plan, of doodling if that's your passion. And I'm not by any means saying that if you like sketching, for example, and you start sketching today, tomorrow, or next week, I'm not saying that within moments, weeks, or months, you'll know what your purpose is, what you want to do and be, and that it will all just happen. Sometimes it's the case that we invest hours, weeks, months, sometimes years of our lives into those little things that bring us joy, into seeing, sensing, and feeling into what we want. And it's through that cumulative investment of time of our soul that we develop towards becoming, develop towards being our true selves. And it's totally, totally worth the time investment because all the while you're investing in yourself, in your passions, you are having a great time. And life is short. We need to have a great time, no? And for me, the best part of this one is that along with vision boarding or making a written list of what your future self will be, we get to daydream. And I love to daydream. Always have. I used to get told off at school for, well, quite a few things, but one of the best things I used to get told off for, other than talking too much and wearing too much makeup and wearing too much jewelry, I used to get told off for daydreaming. I believe that it's in those moments that we are being and are showing our true selves, whether it's by talking what others consider to be too much or by daydreaming. By investing in being ourselves, we become the best version of ourselves that we can be. Another aspect of intention setting is that it is best done from a place of positivity. And one of the things that often stops us from coming at life, and even at approaching life's vagaries in a positive manner, is the old negative internal self-talk. As humans, we struggle with negative internal chatter because our brains are hardwired to look for negative things in order to activate survival mode, in order to keep us alive. So, translating this into our modern world, we instinctively look for the negative in almost every situation, and it's kind of not our fault. We're born this way. But this then leads into having a sense of unworthiness. If we felt worthy, we would have positive self-talk, no? Once we turn that internal negative talk into positive, encouraging talk, we are more likely to achieve our goals because we are approaching those goals and life generally with a positive frame of mind. On my 5th show, The 4 Agreements, I discussed a great book that I stumbled upon called Chatter by Ethan Kross. In that book, Kross gives us tools for tackling internal negative mind chatter. One of the tools he suggests is seeing a situation as if we were advising a friend. Kross suggests thinking about the advice we would give to a friend if they were in the same situation that we might find ourselves in. This should help to turn any negative self-talk into positive words of advice. We very often treat a friend with much more kindness and with so much more compassion for a situation that they are in than we would treat ourselves in the very same situation. We are usually much less hard on our friends than we are on ourselves. Without that, we probably wouldn't have very many friends, right? So why are we not being friendly to ourselves, the person we live with, the person we live as every single day of our lives? Surely we should be the most compassionate to ourselves. And seeing things from the perspective and view of offering advice to a friend in the same situation will help us to achieve a better, more balanced perspective about ourselves, prompting us to speak well about ourselves. And this positive perspective will kickstart achieving those New Year's intentions. I invite you to give it a try. I have spoken about this one so much on probably pretty much all of my shows so far, and that is the practice of gratitude. By getting to the core of what we are grateful for, by being happy for the things that we do have rather than focusing on things we don't consider to have, we open ourselves up to receiving positive outcomes to the aims and goals we have set for ourselves. We get more of what we are grateful for. And the simple reasoning behind that is that energy really does follow where attention and intention go. On a spiritual plane, that is the case because of the way that frequencies vibrate. On a more practical level, look at it this way. And going back to my original example of a New Year's intention of losing weight and being healthy, if those are your aims, if we focus on those few extra pounds and berate ourselves for them, we are taking away focus and energy from something so much more profound, which is that if we have the time, energy, and mental space to complain about those few extra pounds, chances are we have a healthy and very well-functioning body. After all, what's the one thing that someone who doesn't have their health wish they had? They wish they had their health. So, by being grateful for our beautiful functioning bodies, by being grateful for our health, and setting an intention to become healthier from that place of gratitude, we are bringing in so much positive energy that we are steps ahead already on becoming a healthier version of ourselves. We can use that positive energy to come up with a workout routine, for example, to devise a meal plan that we will be able to stick to. We can use that positive energy that's bubbling away under the surface to pound the treadmill or to pump iron or to hold those yoga asanas for just a few moments longer each time. So, I encourage you to start focusing your mind on what you have. Start focusing your mind in such a way that your perspective changes. Rather than seeing the negative side of a situation, try to see the situation from the positive perspective. Try to turn a seemingly negative thing into something positive. And then, make a list of 3 things you are grateful for. Try to do this for 7 days in a row, either when you wake up or just as you're about to go to bed. Quickly jot down 3 things that you're grateful for from the previous 7 days. And if it doesn't have to be written down in a notebook, it can be a voice note on your phone or a written note on your phone. And I love doing this. In fact, I have started Thankful Thursdays, where I post on my social media 3 things for which I am grateful every Thursday. Take a look at my Instagram for these posts and leave me your comments about the things that you are grateful for. I love your feedback and I would love to hear your comments on what you're grateful for. My Instagram is my name, Shuvra Deb, spelt Shuvradeb. As part of this gratitude practice, in this little break over Christmas and New Year's, why not try writing down 3 to 5 things for which you are grateful that happened this year in 2022? Then, once you've done that, think about how these can provide a springboard for building on your goals and aims for 2023. For example, are you grateful for something that happened at work? A promotion, a pay rise, or a bonus perhaps? If so, how did you achieve that? Write down, plan out what happened and what you did to achieve that promotion, pay rise, or bonus. And then write down and plan out how you're going to do it again. Only this time you're going to go even bigger. Don't limit yourselves. Are you grateful for a new friendship you made in 2022? If so, would you like to focus on deepening that friendship in 2023? Think about ways in which you can do that. For example, by spending more time with your friend, or by doing something nice for them that you know they'll appreciate. Do you want to make more friends in 2023? If so, what hobbies do you have? Do you like to dance, for example? Look into what dance classes are available in your community and pop along to the lessons. You will no doubt meet like-minded people there, and dancing is so much fun. Another really beautiful thing to do at this time of year, as one calendar year draws to a close and we have a fresh year about to start, is to let go of what is no longer serving us. What is no longer serving us could be old behavior patterns, old beliefs, old ways of life that are not providing anything positive in our lives and are causing us more difficulties than they are creating positive opportunities and feelings. The way to do this is to feel into sensing a sense of separateness from those old patterns, those old beliefs, those old ways of life. If you're an intuitive, spiritual person, you may wish to sit in quiet meditation and see, sense, and feel into those old ways that you would like to release. Once you've identified what they are, an old relationship perhaps and any residual feelings, an old belief about your self-worth, an old grudge against a family member, or an old behavior pattern causing you problems in your life. Those are just some examples. What you wish to release is completely personal to you, and it should be completely personal to you. Once you've identified what those are, for those of you who like ceremonial ritual, a great ritual for release is this. Sit in quiet meditation and see if you can identify what you need to release. Then take a sheet of paper and write out what that thing, or those things if there's more than one, are. Then, and if you like, using energy through your hands, hold your hands over the piece of paper and say softly out loud, I release you and I welcome in the light. I release you and I welcome in the light. Say that little mantra as many times as you feel is right for you. And then, in a metal bin outside, set that piece of paper on fire, making sure you are near a water source, preferably a running tap just in case. Set that piece of paper on fire. But please be careful not to set anything else on fire. And whilst you are releasing this part of the old you, really allow yourself in your heart to release this aspect of the old you. Maybe visualize aspects of this old you flying away or turning into embers along with that burnt piece of paper. Feel into that sense of release from within. Feel into that shift in energy that will come with this release. And if you don't feel that shift, that's okay. Trust me, the work is going on in the background. The release, the change, it's already starting to happen, and will happen in noticeable ways when you're ready to receive those shifts, those changes, which will all come to you in good time. For the more logically minded, there are numerous ways of identifying and then tackling areas of our life where we need to let go of the old. For example, if you're feeling frustrated, miserable, and dissatisfied in your job, look at why you're feeling that way. Are your talents not being fully utilized? Are you doing something that is unfulfilling? If so, what do you do about this? If you're feeling that you're not being put to good use at your job, sit down and identify aspects of yourself that would fit in well with parts of your company where you see that there are gaps. Put together a business plan, except that plan is a you plan. Let's call it that, a you plan. Uppercase capital letter Y for the word you, and uppercase capital letter P for the word plan. What is your you plan going to look like? Maybe it could have columns in it. One column could be headed, what I am good at or where my talents lie. The next column could be gaps in my company. So in the first column, you write in what you feel you're good at, and in the next column, see if you can identify what you think your company could be doing in addition to what it's already doing, or could be doing differently. And then see where the two columns overlap and marry up. Be creative with this one. Think outside the box. If you work for a traditional company, you don't have to be traditional or conservative with this exercise. Even the more conservative old school businesses, thinking outside the box for them, outside of the restrictions, can reap huge benefits. According to TheMuse.com, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI in the US, is a good example of a company that thinks outside the box. Rather than creating a role and making their agents fit into that role, the FBI, and I quote TheMuse.com, works to fit each person with the branch that will best fit their unique skill set. And the FBI is not alone in taking a thinking outside the box approach. Taco Bell, the extremely successful fast food chain, makes use of data and analytics to influence its business decisions. Taco Bell is using technology for targeted advertising for relevant menu recommendations, with their app making personalized menu recommendations. AIDataAnalytics.com states that the personalized menu recommendations are not only based on the user's past purchases and browsing history, but also on the time of day, location, day of the week, weather, and other various factors that could influence sales. So, how can your U plan match up your skills and talents and passions to aspects of your company's needs? Could your talents, your skills marry up with a business strategy that your company could benefit from? If so, go for it. Put together your U plan, put together your business plan, and then make a proposal to your boss, as long as you're sure they're not going to steal your idea and take it as their own. And do this by feeling into that relationship, its dynamic and the energies that are there. Promote yourself, but please do be sure always to protect yourself. I've spoken about this one so much on my shows, which is that I really invite you to take the DISC test, spelt D-I-S-C, which provides a really cool way for you to delve into what kind of personality you have. Are you outgoing or are you reserved? Are you a people person or are you into your jobs and tasks? Where do your strengths lie and what do you enjoy doing? Do you enjoy talking to people and influencing them, persuading them to your way of thinking? Or do you enjoy starting and finishing tasks and projects and keeping things in order? Do you enjoy getting things done? All of these questions feed into the DISC test, which I invite you to take. The test is a great way, an objective way of being told where our strengths lie, and a wonderful way of receiving encouragement for those strengths. And all this will feed into your U plan. You can Google DISC test or DISC method, and that's spelt D-I-S-C, and a good number of options come up for taking the test. By creating and devising your U plan, you start to move away from previously held old belief patterns. Those old belief patterns may be self-limiting beliefs. By creating your U plan, by doing the DISC test, you identify aspects of yourself that are the opposite of self-limiting. You identify what you can do rather than holding false beliefs on what you can't do. And by flipping the switch on that, by turning that can't do belief into a can do belief, we allow ourselves the space to accomplish. Another aspect of the old, in which we can all become stuck from time to time, is to focus on past events in our lives with rose-tinted glasses on. What I mean by that is that sometimes when we consider that the present situation of our life is not going in a way that gives us joy and fulfillment, we are all too easily tempted to daydream back to moments in our past where we did feel that joy and fulfillment from life. I used to often hear comments such as, "I wish I was at school again, those were the days," from people in their 20s, or things like, "Life was so much better when I was in that job or in that relationship or living in that house." There are essentially two ways not to get stuck in that self-perpetuating looking back. Firstly, we need to be realistic. Whatever old situation we are fantasizing about, the old relationship, job, home, whatever, in its totality, it was never as good as we think it was when we look back. Our memories are almost always clouded by our perception of the present in which we find ourselves. If our present is not to our liking, it is all too tempting to take comfort and solace in the arms of the past that we look back at. Except, you see, the present doesn't have to be a place in which we simply find ourselves without there being any choice as to it. The present doesn't have to be a place where we have disempowered ourselves so much that events happen to us and we feel powerless to do anything to change that. On the contrary, one of the reasons I left the UK and moved to the Caribbean was, well, it was the weather. My fellow Brits, you all totally get this. I had decided when I was 8 years old that as an adult, I would live somewhere very close to a beautiful beach and where it was warm. Except I allowed, I guess, life as I knew it to get in the way before at the age of 33, I took the decision to change that. I took the decision to go to that beach. After all, it wasn't going to come to me in landlocked London. So, if you feel yourself stuck in the old, if you find yourself stuck in repeat fantasizing about the past, looking at the past as being a rosier place than where you are now, than the present, change your present. Make whatever decision, take whatever step you need to take in order to change, and then your future self will thank you so much. And of course it's scary. It's the unknown, it's change. But each and every aspect of life is unknown and involves change. None of us know what will happen to us, to anyone, from one moment to the next. Every moment of life involves change because nothing ever remains as it was. So, if the unknown and change are for all of us anyway, inevitably, why not make the unknown and the change work for us? Let's use the unknown and the change to cultivate and create the life we daydream of, the life we vision board, the life that brings us joy and fulfillment. And as the new year approaches, what a great time of year to do all this. Something else that we can all do in 2023 is to cut out the parts of our lives that add no value. We can identify what in our lives can be called out as being time killers. 3 things that I think are time wasters and that we can all eliminate from our lives are, firstly, activities that take our precious time away from us. Secondly, being disorganized. And thirdly, taking on too much. So, in terms of the activities that take away our precious time from us, I touched on this a little in my second show entitled Standing Still to Move Forward, where I talked about the 15-minute rule, which in brief is taking just 15 minutes a day to have a meditation practice, or 15 minutes a day to start and finish a new project or pursue a new hobby. If it's a project or business plan you're working on, I suggested using the 15 minutes in the morning that we take to make and eat our breakfast as the perfect time for this. In that show, I also spoke about our endless scrolling on social media, or watching that one more show of our favourite series, all of which can be such a time zapper. It can keep us awake just that little bit longer than we would like, preventing a healthy, good quality night's sleep from happening. It can stop us from practicing the 15-minute rule by leading us to believe that we don't have 15 minutes in our lives to cultivate a new, healthy, heart and mind-opening practice, when what is in fact going on is that we're not managing our time effectively. What else can we eliminate from our lives that are taking up time and are depleting our energies that would be better served being focused elsewhere? One of the things that have got me in the past, and trust me, this is an ongoing issue for me, is my lack of organisational skills. I always seem to have about 12 different projects on the go at the same time, about 5 books I'm reading all at the same time, about 3 paintings I'm working on, yep, you guessed it, all at the same time, about 8 dresses that I might want to wear for one event, and about 30 different shades of lipstick strewn around in various drawers in my bathroom. So, as I say, I still struggle with this one, but I have tried to get organised, at least a little bit more than I was this time last year. The projects are mostly on my laptop, so rather than having hundreds of different documents just sitting there in my documents folder, I have loads of subfolders, and I give what I think are easily identifiable titles to the documents. That's the best I have at the moment, and it doesn't always work so well. Just ask Chuck Taylor here at DMS Broadcasting what I'm like when trying to find the copy for something. It takes time, but at least I have some form of filing system which works for the most part. The books. Oh, the books. Maybe this is something that just happens to English literature graduates. I don't know. I almost don't want to know in case it is just me. At one point, my coffee table was covered, and I mean covered by books, each pile about 5 books high. So embarrassing, but there it is. It took me buying a new coffee table and therefore having to clear the piles to organise the books into shelving and storage, and now, for the most part, it seems to work. Same with the paintings. The dresses. Okay, girls, you'll get this one, I hope. You have a party you're going to, you want to look your best, but you don't know which outfit to wear. So, you may end up hanging your outfits up somewhere visible to get a feel for them, to see how they might look. What does that do? It creates mess and, quite frankly, a headache. So, I now organise my dresses by colour. Yes, I colour code my dresses inside my closet. That has helped immensely with the organisation factor, as well as the what am I going to wear factor. I invite you, give it a try. As for the lipsticks, I just straight out went and bought a large makeup bag where all the lipsticks now live, save for a few regular favourites that are on my bathroom counter. Maybe not the best system, but it works for me. So, the net effect of all of this is that there is less visual chaos around for my brain to absorb, and there is more organisation in my life, meaning I spend less time looking for things in a heap of mess and instead can find things better because I have categorised them in a way that's meaningful for me, in a way that makes sense for me. By getting organised, we eliminate time wastage from our lives, and we eliminate chaos from our minds. By doing each of those things, we free up time which would otherwise be wasted hunting down allegedly lost items, and we free up mental space and give ourselves both physical and mental clarity to get on with living our lives and not be looking at a mess around us. As much as I wholeheartedly encourage all of you to set intentions for the new year and therefore inevitably take on new commitments and goals, there is such a thing as too much of a good thing, which means it's no longer a good thing, right? I go back to my pre-Las Vegas desire to lose a few pounds and tone up as my example of this one. At one stage, I got slightly obsessed. I was working out 3 times a day, once early morning, once at lunch, or twice in the evening back to back. That sounds like madness now that I talk about it. Not only was that taking time away from other things that I could have been doing, such as focusing on a healthy and balanced diet instead, it was also no doubt leading to muscle tears, tissue damage, and fatigue. In fact, I know it was because I was always sore and in some kind of pain. The same is true of committing to too many different intentions. If you're trying to lose weight and eat healthy and drink less alcohol and quit smoking and start a new project and drink less coffee and get more sleep and save more money and, stop. Just stop. Take a breather. Look at the list you no doubt have, and in your quiet moments, really feel into the top 3 items on the list that resonate the most with you, that are the most meaningful for you. Find the 3 things that you feel most passionately about and start with those. If, when you're doing your monthly check-in, you feel you want to replace one of your intentions with a new and different intention, then go for it. If you feel that you may have prioritized an intention which doesn't have so much meaning after all, then stop, find a new intention and get going with that. Equally, on your monthly check-ins, if you feel you're doing so well that your existing intentions and you have time and space and energy for something more, then add another intention and fly with that. It's the incremental changes, the small, bite-sized commitments that are the most impactful because they are the ones we are most likely to stick with. So, to summarize what I've been speaking about today, I feel that this is a great time of year. This little period of Christmas and New Year's is a great time to set intentions for ourselves. And some of the ways in which we can do this include choosing our intentions and then achieving them by taking it step by step with small, bite-sized targets that allow us to make incremental changes. Once we have established what our intentions are, I suggest having regular monthly check-ins with ourselves to see if we're on track, or to check in and make sure that we haven't taken on too much, which has the effect of making our intentions self-defeating because we're striving for too much. And if you're looking for inspiration on what your goals for 2023 could be, I invite you to build on existing practices and activities. Chances are there are things you are already doing because you enjoy doing them, so do more of what you love. In order to really set your intentions in place, I invite you to see, sense, or feel yourself already there, already where you want to be. Whether that's completing a project you've started, getting that new job you've been dreaming about, or buying your new home, the one you've been lusting after. See, sense, or feel yourself already in that role. Releasing any old patterns, beliefs, or ways of being, and ditching unnecessary time-killing aspects of our lives all contribute towards freeing up space to welcome in, to invite in the new to take shape. And ditching any negative internal chatter allows us to usher in the new from a place of positivity. I am so excited for you all. I am so excited, and I hope that you'll be setting your intentions for the new year and reaching for the stars, because why limit yourself to anything less? If any of the topics I've discussed today have affected you, please do reach out to someone, whether that's a friend or a professional support service. Infinite Mind Care provides counselling services and can be reached on 926 0882. The Alex Panton Foundation offers support to people up to the age of 30, and their information is on their website, alexpantonfoundation.ky. Loud Silent Voices provides mental health support, and their number is 922-3847, and their email is info@lsv.support. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am going to be taking a short break, and we'll see you back here on the 12th of January 2023 on Bobo FM 89.1 every Thursday at 2 p.m, starting back again on the 12th of January 2023. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and a happy new year to you all. Until January, take good care of yourselves and of each other. Bye for now. Thank you all so much for tuning in and for listening to Shuvra Deb with you. And please do tune in every Thursday at 2 p.m. on Bobo FM 89.1 for more topics related to and relevant to mental health. If any of you would like to reach out to me directly about any of the issues I've discussed, please do email me at shuvradeb82@gmail.com. That's spelt SHUVRADEB, the numbers 82 @gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening.